Welcome to the Deal Champs podcast. I'm your co-host, Strat Daddy, Mr. Stratton Brown. We have the Master of Hair, Jason Pritchard,
What's up,
Captain
guys?
America, Dean Rogers, and the man, the myth, the legend. You can see the rollie on the wrist. I apologize, Mr. T Sums.
Hey, you said on the list because it's on the left wrist. You know what I mean? You were just putting
Oh
both.
yeah, bro. Thank you.
I like it.
Being efficient.
Being efficient. We'll do some quick intros. My name's Stratton Brown. I own a 7-figure real estate portfolio. We have a couple 7-figure businesses, and we actively coach people on how to do their first deal in real estate. We have Mr. Jason Pritchard. Go ahead and do a quick intro for yourself.
Hey, guys, this is Jason Pritchard. I left corporate America after working about 15 years. Got into real estate in 2014. Since then, we've flipped and wholesaled 300 plus houses. We own a rental portfolio of just over 100 units here in Central California. And my goal, and I know our goal on this podcast, is try to transfer the skills and the things that we've learned to as many of you guys as possible. So thank you guys for tuning in. Excited to have Terry on the show today. I know he's done a ton of stuff, and so I think he's going to add a ton of value to the podcast, man. So excited for this one.
Mr. Captain America, Dean Rogers.
What's up, guys? Your other co-host here, Dean Rogers. My story is I transitioned from the NFL to then corporate and then into real estate. Been investing in real estate for about a decade now in Central California. Done just under 600 deals at this point. Got a rental portfolio of approximately $10 million and been coaching students how to get started in real estate and how to create a successful business. And you can always connect at deanrogers.com.
And I want to do a quick semi-intro for Mr. T Sums. He owns the Pros Gym, $40-50 million in real estate, the best white rapper I've ever met in my life. Nobody knows T Sums has bars. What else? Master bowler. What else is, bro? You got it all, dude.
Yeah,
what a resume. Jeez.
That's jab. Actually, I just got back to lifting full time. I tore my bicep tendon bowling, second frame.
Bowling?
Or 10th frame, second ball. Had to fuck the game. It was getting serious. And yeah, it just it didn't happen for me. So tore my bicep tendon getting back in it. But yeah, I appreciate the intro. Like you said, man, I have a fully integrated, vertically integrated real estate company, construction company, acquisitions company, flip company, rental portfolio of $53 million. I have other investments as well, Pros Gym, other businesses. And but my main thing, I would say about 60% of my net worth is tied up into real estate. And when I got into real estate, I originally got into it because I was tired of dealing with people. I want to deal with properties, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have to sell anymore. I deal with people. I don't have to deal with people. And then I got in this fucking business, and now all I do is deal with people. So
that's right.
Yeah, you can't get out of it.
Well, welcome to the Deal Champs podcast, bro. Here, our big thing, like Jason said, is we want to show people from across the country what they're doing. Some of the best people in the country, the deals they're doing to help and inspire our listeners. And then we want to provide like actual valuable insights. And I've learned so much from UT Sums. I talk about your bank presentation all the time about like how much I learned from that alone. That's a 30-minute presentation.
Damn.
And so we want to give people actionable steps that they can go take in their business.
Dude, I appreciate that, man. I felt fortunate to speak at Mark Evans' birthday, and one of our mentors, and I thought it was kind of shitty. He put me on right before Sean Whalen, but I'll take it. Kind of a not the guy you want to go before, but anyways, no. Actually, I just recorded that for the first time. I actually did the full presentation in my Scalers Only community, which is a community of investors that want to scale their rental business, and recorded it. We're doing some other tidbits with it, and actually going to release it as a first course. I'm super excited about it. So yeah, man, it's been kind of one of my niches is finding these small local community banks where you go in, you talk to the vice president of commercial lending, you shake hands with the president, you get to know the teller at the window, hi, Marianne, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. How's your kids? It's kind of an old school way of doing business, but these banks have lots of money to lend, and they have nobody to lend it to besides other small business owners. So it's a way to make our economy go round. if we just recognize that us as small business owners need to do business with other small businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's been kind of one of my things, and I think, you know, everyone wants to have like this end all be all, and it's not the case. You know, everyone's got different credit, different relationships, different business structures, different tax returns, different types of properties, different areas. Everything's a unique situation, so you have to find that bank that's going to uniquely fit your situation. So I love when you know, people all the time, they'll be like, give me a bank that does XYZ. Well, they might do XYZ for you. They might not do XYZ for somebody else. So yeah, it's kind of a racket. It is what it is. You guys
don't forget to like and subscribe. We got to throw that in there. That button's down there. If you listen to it on the podcast app, go give us a 5-star review. Let's not forget to add everybody in the groups. And then if you are on StreamYard on Facebook, we want to see where you're from. Go to streamyard.com/Facebook. Interact with us. Throw us out your comments. If you're watching from T Sums channel, say what's up to T Sums. If you're watching from our Facebook groups or our Facebook pages, say hi. Tell us where you're from. And today we're really just going to talk to Terry about the big, like how he built this massive portfolio. I love the pros gym most, honestly. I think
cool.
the pros gym.
Hey, Terry, real quick. I just checked your page and I don't see it on there. So you might want to check some settings there. You might want to do something, or at the very least, you could just go to Stratton's page and share it onto yours. Would love to get some of your people engaged.
Do that.
All right, while we're waiting for T Sums, who's this person from Visalia, California?
Visalia, hometown.
Yeah. Let's go. Let us know who you are in the comments from Visalia. I'm going to check this out, see if I can find you where you posted it from.
While we're waiting on Terry, bro. So like a year ago, he was talking shit on the hedge funds. I don't know if you guys saw him on Facebook. He was like, fuck the hedge funds. Don't go through the hedge funds. They're going to stop buying. Your business is going to collapse. Don't do it. Don't do it. And then what happened? The hedge funds quit buying, and then a bunch of dudes' businesses collapsed. Oh, my man's still moving.
I'm trying. Oh. All right, we got Naomi Chavez from Visalia. And we got James Whitehead playing jokes over here.
From Blovis.
Yep.
Facebook is a blue app, my friend. Everybody go to streamyard.com/Facebook. Wait for T Sums. What else? Terry, can you hear us? He's probably looking for another computer since his computer got stolen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
We got to hear the story on that, man.
All right. We're streamed. We are streamed.
We're streaming?
Technology was my strong point.
Take us down as we go. Yeah, no, take us down the story about you losing your laptop. What happened there?
And so long story short, I bought this boat day after I quit my job like 10 years ago. I've been on it, maybe 3 or 4 times. So we went up last Thursday up to Lake Erie to go check it out, whatnot. And I went there with my bag, came back with no bag. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if some crackhead that just hopped in my car, took it, whatever. But note to self, never keep your passport, your birth certificate, your computer, and all your stuff in one place.
All in one spot.
Wait, did you have birth certificate in there too?
Dude, I always keep certificate. You just never know, man, you know?
I've not
what do you mean you don't know?
asked for my fucking birth certificate.
Yeah, bro. If you got your passport, like that's the ultimate, right?
It's one of those things, man. You know, you just want to make sure you have all your shit.
You need your license, your passport, and your birth certificate, or you're not going into Disneyland.
Dude, you never know, man. I'm fly to Libya one day, you know, and be an oil tycoon. Who knows?
You never know. That might happen.
But you mentioned the pros gym, man. The pros gym to me, man, is like, I mean, I came through the fitness industry, and that's kind of my background. And I used to literally like yank people off treadmills, take their headphones out of their ears, sell them a 12-month personal training package. And, you know, we would clip, you know, anywhere from $40 to $500 commission. And I'm like, if I could do this all day long, like that's a good living, right? So then I worked my way up in that company. It just so happened that this iconic gym in the middle of downtown Columbus. The guy who was actually Arnold's right-hand man in the Arnold Classic owned these 5 gyms in Columbus. Well, he was doing so much of the Arnold Classic, these gyms went to shit. So my original person that gave me my first job, he was my first mentor, sales mentor. He had the opportunity to buy it, but he couldn't buy it. So he needed me to come in. And I think I got like 7% of the gym for like 50 grand up front. But now I own 50% of that gym along with him. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of full circle how it came about. Like, this dude was my first mentor. We got out of the gym business. Now we're back in the gym business. So I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things, like, if you're loyal to somebody up front or someone's loyal to you, you better be loyal to them on the back end. And, then I bought the building, which is really cool. The 70th phone call ever made in human history was made from this building. And it was one of the 4 original structures along with the State House built in the state of Ohio. So pretty cool building, pretty iconic. And, I'm just excited to do some cool shit with it.
That's dope, man. Was your corporate background, Terry, and did you build your sales chops in the gym business? Is that where you started originally, or was it something else before that?
Yeah, man. I still don't think like I'm like a great salesperson. I just think I work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all in the gym, man. And you got to think like, one of the toughest, most pushiest, hardcore sells that you do, I think, like acquisitions of real estate, that's definitely one. Car sales comes to mind. Timeshare sales come to mind. And gym or fitness or personal training sales come to mind. Because that person doesn't, when they come into the gym, they're not looking for personal training. They're looking for results, right? And so you're literally selling them a dream. You're selling them air. And so you have to tap into the emotion. You have to get them excited. And you got to stay energized the entire time. So, it's a draining sale, but you learn how to use all the right words, how to walk them down the journey, the path, sell them air, use their words. You get them, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious do you think you are? Oh, I'm a 10. I'm definitely a 10. So then when it comes time for rebuttals, you're like, hey, Mr. Jones, we said before that we're a 10 on the serious scale. So there's no reason why we need to go and check how serious we are about this personal training program right now. There's just, so I learned a lot of that in the gym business, man. And it reciprocates in everything. Real estate, shit.
Oh, yeah.
You how to sell, you can do anything.
Sales, dude. It's all about sales.
Yeah. It's something that was really cool that I heard you say, and I if you can expand on it, man, please do. So I heard you say, I don't think I'm a great salesman, but I'm just a hard worker. And I think at the beginning, a lot of people feel like they have to be like this naturally good salesperson. Like if they're not the Wolf of Wall Street at the beginning, they're afraid to get on the phone. They're afraid to call people. So for you, was it just the work ethic that built the talent over the years, or was it like your natural ability, or what do you think it was?
Dude, I had zero natural ability. I would watch my original mentor, Matt, and he was able to suave Mrs. Jones. He would get the big bodybuilder guys and throw them through his different workout and sell them. He was a chameleon. And I wasn't good at coming up with my own chops, so I had to mimic what he was doing.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I just sucked. But I was like, well, if someone was coming in the gym at 5, 6, or 7 a.m., they were serious, which means that my closing percentage went up. If they were going to have an appointment with me at 8, 9, or 10 o'clock at night, my closing percentage went up. So naturally, I just took all the appointments that no one else wanted to take. And they're like, you're a closer. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely a closer. No, I just show up and 5 a.m. when no one else wants to show up. So then my closing percentage was still like 33%. You try to get 5 appointments, you set 3 of them going to show up, 1 of them you hopefully close. But most of my closes came before 9 a.m. or after 7 or 8 p.m. But yeah, you figure out what works for you. You know what I mean? Like if you're good and you don't have to do that, don't do that. If you are good with a certain type of person, stay in your strike zone, man. I think that you're absolutely right, man. I think people get frustrated because they feel like, you see sales movies and you feel like, oh, I got to be that good, or I got to be that slick, or dude, if you're like I fumble fuck my words all the time. But I use that to
Yeah.
my advantage, and I would leave people 3-minute voicemails. I'd be like, this is Terry, and so I wanted to talk to you about this. But I'm you know what? You leave someone a 3-minute voicemail,
Yeah.
like, wow, dude, I feel sorry for how terrible this guy is. I'm just gonna buy because he's bad.
Out of pity, I'm going to give him a call back at least. Yeah.
Exactly. So you
Yeah.
use whatever your unique ability is, and if you suck, that's a unique ability.
I think one of the things you said there is you just got to be you. I think you can pick up key things from other people of what's giving them success, because you kind of did two things. Like, you mimicked what they did, but you made it your own version, right? Like, if you're trying to pretend to be somebody that you're not, it's just not going to come across genuine or authentic. So I think that's something that people get caught up to, that I see, and that prevents them from starting, is because they feel like they're not that person yet that they need to be, when they just need to be themselves, you know?
Dude, 100%. I remember there's a guy that you guys probably know. His name's Austin Rutherford. I'm in his wedding this weekend. And I remember the very first time that this guy came up to me and had a conversation, and just the way he dressed, the way he talked, the way I was like, how in the fuck is this dude going to do real estate? You know, I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you got to chameleonize yourself. This dude, 1000% has been him throughout his entire journey, and he's absolutely murdered it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's 100% genuine. He's 100% him, and he doesn't vary from it, you know? So I think there's something to be said for that, because, you know, you'll eventually run into people in whatever you're selling, you'll run into the right people that you're going to be able to sell to. You know, those people are naturally going to be attracted to you. So your vibe will attract, what do they say? Your vibe will attract your tribe. That's in sales.
Yeah.
But yeah, what for you guys, what was your guys' sales like beginning?
I'd say
For me,
myself,
it was in corporate. Yeah. For me,
Jason
I had
started in
my
corporate
background
sales.
there, and it was doing like outside sales. I was doing technology-based stuff, business to business, and I really hated just being in the corporate structure. I hated being stuck and like playing politics with all the management. And I knew that real estate for me was the vehicle that I wanted to eventually get into, but it took me 15 years to burn the boats and actually jump in, man. So that's where I started.
Wow. Why 15 years?
I was just scared. I had a wife and I had kids and I had all these other things. You know what I mean? You're kind of grown up to believe like, hey, you go to school and get a good job, climb the corporate ladder. You know, my goal is to make a couple $100,000 as like a, regional manager or whatever in that corporate structure. And I thought that was going to be life. And I didn't know that there was this whole other world out there for me, man. And it took some things, some big decisions in my life and support from my wife. But we just said, you know what, if we don't do it now, we're not going to do it, man. And so stories like yours are really inspiring for me, because I see, people that are willing to make a change and a jump and kind of bet on themselves. And then you see, all of kind of the fruits that come out of that, man. And so, yeah, dude, kind of similar background in regards to the corporate stuff and just moving into real estate afterwards.
That's awesome, Jason. I think the thing that people fail to mention is that I've been doing this for almost 15 years.
Yeah.
So like, people want this overnight shit, and it doesn't happen.
Yep.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, mine was in wholesaling. So I was working corporate, and real estate was my side hustle, because I knew that corporate wasn't going to get me to that freedom of the NFL of abundance and making money and living life, how you want, and having all the resources you want. So I got started in wholesaling, and that's where I learned my skills, is just listening to podcasts and mimicking what other people were saying. And like, okay, they emphasize, you got to say it like this. You got to ask this question. You got to say it with this tonality. And I got started on Sean Terry. He was the podcast that I found when I typed in Google how to get started in real estate. So I literally just copied everything he said and did with marketing and his script. And that's how I got my practice and got my deals, and, just grew from there and learned from other people. And, I got my whole story, but yeah, that's how I got started, is just learning out of necessity. Like, I was an introverted person, and wasn't used to having to say a lot of things. I just played, I just played
Yeah.
football. So talking and sharing and like expressing a lot, like that really wasn't a thing that I had or needed to do. So had to develop it.
That's
Bro,
awesome.
T. Sums, me and you talked about it last time, bro. I was like, bro, I've never had selling experience besides real estate. My background's super like Dean's. Oh, Terry played college football too. Terry was a beast of a fullback.
I wasn't that good, but I believed until I was a senior in college I was going to NFL. We had a couple guys on the team that went to the league, and I'm like, shit, I outwork all these dudes anyway. But there's like a height, you got to be taller than 5'6" and good. And yeah, have to be somewhat elusive, and yeah, so that was not me. So this is like, to me though, like this shit's like my new football. It's like, I think, not to go down like a rabbit hole of like alphamism and maleness and all that stuff, and there's a lot of females that have this same thing, but I think you get to a certain point in life where you have to like soothe that, like that hunter, like just killer mentality. And for us in this capitalist world, like business is it for us,
Yep.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
And there's a way for us to be able to collaborate with other alphas to be able to grow and, help our little tribe, our little family units. And it's just that it's just like football all over again, man, and you find your new huddle, and, some people will dip out and join a different team or whatever, and you bring new people onto your squad, and it's almost like the same shit.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, no, business is definitely a sport. I like that analogy, dude, that we can play for the rest of our lives. We don't have the physical limitations of like football or these other sports and stuff like that. And it's something that we can constantly progress and refine. So that's really good, man. When you transferred from, was it the gym into real estate, or how did that transition look? Because I know a lot of people get stuck in like, what's that leap and how did you make that leap? So what was like happening in your life, dude, and going through your head to say like, hey, what I'm doing right now at the gym or wherever it was that you're at, like what was it about real estate and how did you actually make that jump into real estate?
For me, man, it was very I was taking all those early morning appointments and all those late appointments.
Yeah.
Girl at the time, I realized I could not work 16, 18 hours a day. She was wondering, what in the hell am I doing not coming home? I'm like, dude, I'm not going to drive 20 minutes home when I can just sleep at the gym and get to my 5 a.m. appointment. I mean, that's basically an hour of sleep that I need in order to function the next day. So I just realized that was not a long-term thing. And I realized that, that company was growing super fast. And so there was these, upper management positions that I could get. So I wanted to keep that. But at the same time, I went to Key West in February of 2010. And it was the first girl I was dating at the time. We went down there. I played hooky with work somehow. And for the first time in my life, I watched the sun go up and watched the sun go down. There was definitely some drinks involved. Met a bunch of phenomenal people that I'll actually still have some of their numbers still to this day. And I'll shoot them a text, hey, thanks for that day. It changed my life. And then when I came back, I was like, I got to figure something else out. One of the ladies I sold personal training to owned like 30 some rental properties. Another mentor of mine owned like 37 rental properties. And I was like, dude, this is it. These people may not be the richest people in the world, but they're wealthy. They own their time. They have freedom. And so for me, I was just like, this is ultimate freedom. And then I immersed myself in real estate. I was like, I looked at houses in 2010, which everyone's like, oh, it was so easy in 2010. And I don't want to get the story twisted, because today money's fucking everywhere, but you can't find deals. Back then there was all these deals, but money did not exist. Hard money did not exist. Borrowing private money did not exist. Tapping IRA accounts, there wasn't courses on that stuff. YouTube University wasn't a thing. So, there just wasn't that opportunity. So I did the FHA house hack thing, live in it 3.5% down, refinance it in 6 months, move out 6 months and 1 day afterwards. Once you got a conventional loan on it, get a new house with FHA, and just keep repeating the process. But yeah, that was shit. That was the middle of 2010 when I bought that first house. And then I got addicted to it, man. I was like, holy shit, if I can make $400 a month on one house, and I didn't know about CapEx and all that stuff, but $400 a month, if I wanted to replace my income with $8,000, Like I need 16 houses, need maybe 17, 18 houses. And so that was my original goal, was to be able to save up enough, 15, 20 grand, enough every single month to try to be able to, accumulate these houses and get that passive income.
Why do you think it was the holds first? Because most people, I think, get attracted to like the flipping, the quick cash from wholesaling. You're one of the people that I've heard say, hey, I started buying rentals. Was it just the proximity that you had with those clients? Or was it just in your head, you're like, I just need the regular income? Or was it something else?
Dude, I could have went out. I could have worked and made $5,000. That wasn't the issue.
Yeah.
The issue was I had no time. And it's like, why am I going to spend my time? But when I can buy this asset, it's going to appreciate. Like if you're buying that first house, I bought it for $80,000. That house is probably worth $300,000 today. Right. I sold it to my sister for $115,000. I'm a good brother. But I yanked out $27,000 on a tax-free refi check. That was cool. But it's going to appreciate, it's going to be worth more in the future. You're paying down debt every month. Your tenant is giving you cash flow and you're not paying any taxes on the cash flow. So really, once you start adding all these things up, if you're appreciating it, say, 3%, year one, you're already paying down 2.5% of your debt. If you're on a 20-year loan, if you're paying 38% of your income on taxes, you're not paying that 38%. So immediately that dollar you get is worth like $1.38. So when you start adding at least, and you're getting cash flow, holy shit. To me, when I started adding all this stuff up, I'm like, this is exactly why these people get wealthy. And the last part about it is no one has to show up and open the door to that business. You don't have to worry about an employee not showing up. You don't have to worry about anything until you get the phone call. It just keeps churning out cash. So I don't know. It made sense to me from jump, bro. Just made sense.
You're in Columbus, right? Columbus, Ohio?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that where you buy all your deals?
100%. I've bought deals in other markets, but it's one of those things that you're trying to get scale in another market. You got to be heavy into it. And I don't want to build anything out that I can't scale and can't get out of.
So what's your opinion on people, let's say from California? Jason, Stratton, myself, we're all from California. They say, oh, the prices are so good in Ohio, I'm going to go out there. Do you think that's achievable for people to have success? Or do you feel like you got to be in your backyard and that's where you got to be?
Today, at 1,000%. Dude, like our construction program, I can send in a person that I can pay minimum wage to, have them put their phone in the house, and it takes all the pictures, square footage, does all the math on the rehab based on their phone pictures, and then spits it out to me. And we're usually within a couple $1,000 on a rehab. And so, there's just so much technology to where you can do it. I know for me, the reason my backyard made sense, and I realized it very quickly, was it was the best of all worlds. I could flip, I could rent. It's not a massive cash flow market. It's not a massive flip market, but it gives me different exit strategies, right? And so if you're in the coast or a liberal state or blue state, likely you're in a flip market. It's kind of tough to rent those properties because they're so high priced. But Columbus, it was one of those things where like you could rent it, you could flip different neighborhoods. And so kind of gave you best of all worlds. That's changing, right? But I think for most people like that are in like, say like a California, you don't look at Cleveland where you see like these like, hey man, this is like 16 cap. Yeah, the house was built in 1880. It's halfway fallen down. It's been flooded in 4 times. So I think too many people get caught up in the cash flow of this business, whereas, yeah, it's important. You got to carry it. But where you make the money is paying down debt, your tax advantages, and the appreciation. And then your cash flow, your dividend on these things is like, that's like the bonus. So I just think there's too much technology to be able to use your backyard as a crutch. So, I'm already asking guys in other markets that I know that are going to be highly appreciating, like, hey, how can I come in and if we went in this market, could we buy 100 houses next year? And I can set up, systems and processes, virtual assistants to be able to do all this stuff and manage it from afar. But, it's also taken, a long ass time to be able to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
What did that process look like for scale for you, bro? Like at the beginning, were you just a one-man army at the beginning, just doing everything on your own, just hustling it all out? Or did you see the importance of like hiring people, delegating, and bringing up people on and scaling things out sooner on?
Yeah, for sure. I from jump, I was control freak. Absolutely. I think up until my 37th property, I was doing everything myself. So I mean, I obviously had construction crews and stuff like that, but I'm running in my white Lincoln truck with my 22-inch white rims, pulling into the Lowe's parking lot, loading drywall, studs, all types of stuff. I mean, so I learned how to do a little bit of everything, which I also don't feel like is a bad thing, because if you do something once, then you know about how much time things take, about what it costs. The reality is no one really does manual labor anymore, but you realize how hard this shit is. So I think that's very, very important. But then my first hire was an assistant, and then this maintenance guy that worked with me in the gym business. And then, I've always kept a maintenance person around, always. And especially if you got flips, I mean, dude, like every single person, this is the commonality. It gets 90% done. And then you send your construction crew to go in and fix all the last 10%. You know what they do? They do 90% again. So now you're at 97%, really. Then you got to send them back again. But if you just had a handyman or a punch out artist, they can go in there and knock that stuff out in a day. Right. So I guess I've always kept that handyman, that person around for those things too, not just maintenance on rentals. So yeah.
Bro, when was the last time you had to pay taxes?
Shit, I pay now.
Really?
Yeah.
And is it because you want to be bankable? Because like with that big of a portfolio, you could kind of kick the can down the road for a long time.
Sure. Yeah, you can definitely kick the can down the road. But I think one of the things, if you a community bank looks and sees a negative number on line 37, it rarely works out, right? But you want to make sure this is a golden nugget too for anyone that's listening, paying attention. You've got the easiest thing to do is just think like a bank when you do your taxes. Make sure that when you take your line 37, add in your depreciation, add in your interest, and then minus out whatever your total payments are. Make sure that number comes out to 1.3 or more. That's what you pay taxes on. So then that way you're always continuing to get more leverage. And there's ways you can do that. Like you can depreciate stuff. Say you have I don't know. And we do quarterly reviews to see where we're at, see if we're going to expense things or if we're going to capitalize them. Let's say you get a furnace that goes out and you've got a $700 part. IRS says that you can expense up to $2,000. And there's a lot of shit in between $0 and $2,000 that goes through your business every day. Well, if you're like, man, I need to be bankable, you should probably depreciate that $700 part, right? If you don't need it, take it later. If you need it, take it now. But if you don't need it now, take it later. So there's a lot of cool shit that you can do to maneuver the way that you look on paper within the guidelines of the IRS. I'm not an accountant, but there's just a lot of cool stuff. And that's the beauty of owning real estate is you control everything. You control how your income looks. You control how you look to the bank. You control all these different things, when you're going to pay taxes, how you're going to pay taxes, when you're going to take income, how you're going to take income. You control all these things.
I saw a reel that you posted I think it was the other day, dude. And I thought it was insightful because I'm going through some of this right now, where you talked about like at the beginning, you buy all these rentals and you think you're going to hold these doors forever. But then you get to a point when you've become a little bit more seasoned and you start identifying the things that, you kind of have to thin the herd out a little bit and shave some off here, shave some off there, right? To kind of, for the better of the overall portfolio, lose some of the loser deals, right? How do you kind of go through that thought process? I'm curious just to hear your insight, because we're going through that right now where we're selling off like 5 or 6 of our dog rentals. So for you, what's your decision-making process when you do that?
Dude, I love that you said dog rental, because I was about to throw a little tidbit in there about dog rentals. You got like your white collar, blue collar, and then your dog collar, right?
Yeah.
Your dog collar, yeah. I mean, it might make money. Some guy in California that wants massive cash flow is probably going to overpay for it. Might as well take chips off the table.
That's right.
Like I sold majority of my apartment units from 2020 to 2021 And really what it was is people out of California were willing to overpay for every single thing that I had. And like I had, what was this? I think it was like 80 some units out of like just north of 350 at the time. And out of those, 80 were in this apartment complex, but it was over 50% of my work order volume. So why are we spending all this time here? We had a couple $1,000,000 in equity. I say me, and I'm like, dude, just sell this damn thing, and then you can 1031 or put it in the market and get a dividend and then borrow back off your dividend, or there's just many other things you can do. Case in point, dude, there was, I was running this morning, 6 a.m. with a buddy of mine, and I sold this 4-unit. I bought it for like $100,000. And to some people listening in California, are like, "Oh, that doesn't exist." And yeah, but you can buy it. You buy it in different markets, right? So bought it for 100. I was happy to sell this thing at 180. Dude, this thing sucked. Ton of code violations, you name it. We dealt with it on this property. Sold it to this girl. She held on to it for 2 years. She just sold that thing for last month.
400.
To a person in California, 417,000.
Jeez.
Crazy, bro.
Walked away with $250,000 by hanging on for 2 years.
Yeah.
And so that's why I love single families and smaller multis. Is if you buy in path of progress, if you're buying in the right areas, you're capturing all the appreciation on this thing that you would never get by just buying cash flow. But you got to realize and understand. So that's what it is. So I think to go back to your question, one, whatever your loser deals are, get rid of them. Anything that's super high equity. So if you've got so much equity that the equity makes more sense to have in your pocket than the cash flow that thing's spitting off, take the equity, put it, either put it in your pocket, get a dividend somewhere, loan it out, do whatever, or 1031 exchange that. So if let's say you got a property, you got $250,000 in, and it's spitting off $2,000 a month cash flow, I think we can all safely assume here that all of us can make more on $250,000 than $2,000 a month, right? So for us, let's say you do a 4x on that. That's $1 million worth of properties that you're now doing the same shit with. So it's like, why hold on to the property? It doesn't make any sense. 1031, kick the can down the road, and now you're doing the same. You're getting the appreciation of debt pay down, tax advantages, more cash flow on more volume than holding on. So you're going through that now, though.
Yeah. So like those are the dogs, and they've got a lot of equity in them. There's stuff that we bought cheap, like early on when I didn't have a criteria for like the location or anything really. It's like, if I could just get it cheap and make the numbers work and have it spit off some cash, I bought it. And now we've got a bunch like that. And we've identified 5 or 6 that have all $100,000 or more in equity in them. We've never really done any work to them. And it's just like, maybe let's just exit these. They're kind of problems. We know we have big CapEx coming up on them at some time soon. If a tenant leaves, we're going to have to go dump a bunch of money into them. And so we're trying to liquidate some of those and then put them into better properties. And it was just interesting timing because I saw that reel of you talking about that stuff. And it was good to see like guys like you. So that way I know I'm kind of on the right track. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I mean, shit. Take the $100,000 out of each property and bring it to Ohio, man. Loan it to us at 12 or 14%. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, but no, I think it's absolutely right, man.
Here's a good question, a good comment or question that could lead into 2 questions here. So someone said they're from Clovis, California. They're interested in getting started in rental Airbnbs. They just started taking a class, so they like listening to the podcast. Thanks for listening. Would like to hear more on asset-based loans. Any knowledge would be helpful. So the first thing I wanted to ask you, T. Sums, was about Airbnbs. What are your thoughts on Airbnbs? Do you have any?
Man, why do you gotta laugh, bro? I guess that's all I can do is laugh, right? So I've got about $300,000 coming back as furniture donations on my taxes next year. Yeah, I mean, Columbus is not for me. Columbus is a where we have like the Arnold Classic, we have some big music festivals, Ohio State football, but in January and February it sucks. So back when interest rates started rising, here's what everyone said. They're like, oh, if I can't flip it, I'll just convert it to an Airbnb. I'll just Airbnb it. So we went from 1,400 Airbnbs in Franklin County to over 2,300. Myself personally, I went and applied for 96 permits. So I looked at every property that could potentially be an Airbnb to get the permits, so that way I could always convert them. I have zero interest in converting any of them. It just part of it was an operation thing. I hired 2 mentors, hired a girl to basically manage everything, and she left. And then ultimately I got stuck doing all the work, and then VA's doing the work. But yeah, I mean, we went from 26 down to 9. I'll probably settle at 10. And these are just things that are just too big and bulky and are worth too much, but I want to keep hanging on. I'm keeping, but yeah, I mean, I got my ass handed to me for sure. I mean, it's a completely different mindset than rentals. And if you have the same people that are cleaning and maintaining rentals that you do have cleaning and maintaining your Airbnbs, it's never going to work, because their mindset going into an Airbnb, you're asking them to change their entire mindset, right? As a lower level employee, like it doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, I could go on and on for days, but just if you're a hospitality person, great. But if you're a salesperson, like I'm assuming all of us are salespeople at heart, it's a tough business to try to manage in the hospitality industry, knowing that you're a salesperson. That's my abbreviated 2 cents.
Been your experience. So going into debt, I'd be kind of curious to hear your opinion on debt, how you approach it, how you built your portfolio with or without it. I think that kind of ties into the question about, asset-based loans.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I think you never ever want to burn a bridge when it comes to money, because you never know when you're going to need it. There's people I can call up. I'm like, bro, I need 250 in my account tomorrow. They're like, cool. Tell me where to send the wire. Your ass is going to pay for it. And if not, your head's going to be on a stake. But you need those people, but also you need your bank money. You need those banks that are going to have the best refinance rates. These are the banks that want all the properties with a nice red, pretty bow on them. You want the banks that are going to take a little bit more risk. You want your hard money. You want several hard money companies. You want all types of different money. You need people that are willing to lend you transactional money. Just because you never know the situation you're in. I mean, you might have there might be a person that's listening that might have all these flips going on. You're like, I have the profit, but they got stuck, but yet they can't lean against anything because they have no cash. They need someone to inject capital in their business somehow. So you just always want to have these different levels of money. And for me, I originally went straight to community banks just because they were only people that would do business with me. But you have to put 25% down. Then you got to fund the rehab. So it's definitely a bad use of capital, as opposed to going to private and hard money on the acquisition and then refinancing into community bank money. But I didn't know any better. And quite frankly, when I first started, hard money, and I wasn't tied in to really borrow private money at that point. So
what's your thought process, Terry, on like the leverage and the percentage that you feel comfortable at? So let's say you get a good asset, you buy it cheap, you fix it up, you've got a decent spread in there. Do you lever it all the way up to like 70, 75, 80%? Or are you more conservative?
Yeah, 75 at most, man. I mean, you'll get, we've gotten these banks that like, yeah, we do 80. That's cool, but I better make sure that the rest of my portfolio is at like 50 for that. I mean, I hate going up that high. I mean, my portfolio today, I'm probably anywhere between 50 to 62.5% at any time. I never let it get it any more than that, but any less than that, it's a bad use of capital too. That's just where I personally feel comfortable. I feel like if you're levered up too much, it's so hard to outrun those payments. But if you're levered down so much, it's also a bad use of capital. So I think with real estate, that's where I feel comfortable. In the traditional like stock markets, I try to be a little bit more conservative than that. I try to stay, right around 30 to 40% leverage, just because they start calling stuff at 70 and 75 as opposed to 80. But But that's just me, man. I mean, everyone's got their threshold. In the beginning, you got to leverage everything up. You got to take some risk, and you got to go outrun your 80% LTV loans and your 75% LTV loans. But the more that you get scale, team, all this stuff, like, it's just kind of where I feel comfortable.
When did you start like taking loans out on your stocks? Like, when did you learn how to do that? Because I've just started to learn about that. And like, how do you even do it? Who gives you that loan?
So we use Schwab right now. And then our investment advisor, they're Schwab. They use Schwab. So yeah, I mean, what's cool about it is, if you want a saving, like for instance, everyone wants a savings account that bears interest, and that's why you're seeing people take their money out of banks and then go to Schwab or go somewhere else where they're getting 4%. But if you can put your money in a product that gets 10%, let's say Walmart, Target, and I don't know, Home Depot, they'll have a product where if these don't drop by more than 20%, you're getting a 10% or 12% or 15 or whatever dividend, and you can borrow off of that too. So there's all types of products out there that you can, and because you're putting up your stocks as collateral, right? The same way you would put up your real estate as collateral. So then they're just going to give you a loan back off of it. The beauty of investing in the traditional markets, the way that we have it set up, is you can get tax loss harvesting. So let's say you got $1 million, right? So if you got $1 million and you've got a good advisor, why not take you could get a 50 to 70 grand loss on your portfolio on paper, but then it could appreciate by 10 to 12%, and you could borrow money off of it. So, and it's liquid, right? It's not like real estate where you got to go get a loan and it's 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks, or like apartments. Those apartments I sold that it took me 10 months to access the money. So I think it's beneficial to have different levels of money. And I'm just trying to get around smart people, Strat, like you, man. The more you get around smart people, you start learning this shit, and you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. And once the light bulb goes off and it makes sense, you're like, damn, okay, cool. And then like people like us, we get all excited about it. And next thing you know, we can't stop talking about it, or, investing in our strategies and stuff like that. But 2020, when I started investing in the stock market real heavy, I met a lot of good people, and it opened up my eyes when I became open to it.
Were you into like networking and I know you and Strat met through Mastermind, right? And I know for all of us, networking has probably changed our life, the relationships that we made. Did you realize that early on and like lean into that early on, or were you more kind of competitive, cards closer to the chest, and then slowly but surely it opened up to you? How did that work?
Yeah, I want to ask you guys the same question too, but no, in the very beginning, it was like every 15 grand that I had, that was a house. I'm not invested. I'm like, dude, I know what I'm doing. I'm not investing 15 grand in a person.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's a property, man. That's $400 cash flow. And then you realize, like, I think like the first money I actually dropped was on Mark Evans. I spent like $5 grand to fly down to Florida in 2018. And I'm counting all the money in the room because I don't get it at this point. I think it maybe 2017 actually. And I'm like, $5 grand. I'm like, dude, he's got 70 grand sitting in this room. I'm like, no, okay, it makes sense what he does. And I'm like, we spent like 15 grand on dinner. Then I'm like, all right, he's down to 55. And then he did lunch and he did. So maybe he made like 40 grand on this event. And, just the way he talked about money everything was so easy to him. And it just, again, you get around other super successful people, it opens up your eyes, man, to all types of just new worlds, man, that you don't even think of.
What have been some of your biggest takeaways from some of your mentors, like Mark Evans? I think we all know who Mark is.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of listeners who know who he is. What have been some of your biggest takeaways that you've applied to your business that you still like are like the key foundations for how you do things?
Key foundations to what?
Just how you run things. It might be like investment strategies. Like, I do this now because someone was showing me how to do this and they said this is the way. Or it's like I approach my business this way, or I manage my finances this way, or I tapped into, new way to access capital, or just anything, like anything you can think of. It's like, because this person.
It's like, where do you begin?
Yeah.
Carl down in Arizona. I mean, I was always buy and hold up until like 2017. Then 2016, then I started flipping properties, and I'm like, oh, I can wholesale too. I was just giving deals away. And then they're like, yeah, you should get paid to give deals away. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. Here's my 25 grand. I mean, I've probably spent, I don't know, 60 or 70 grand with those guys. And, just them teaching me how to wholesale. I thought that was a game changer, that's all they had to do. And, the money was worth it. Mark, just the power of thinking bigger, man, and as he's grown in his journey, because he used to be a real estate guy. He's not a real estate guy. He's a business mogul. And so now he's realized, you get into real estate, you make money, then you start thinking about markets and businesses and, just different things and different levels. And as he's grown along his journey, it helps us to grow along our journey and realize that we're way more than just real estate people. Shit, man. I mean, my investment advisor, that was a game changer, man. I mean, to be able to, get my first like $2 million with this dude. And then, that was a couple of years ago. And then, to be able to grow that and continue to add to that, like, and it's just like putting fuel on fire, and it just runs right into the real estate business, runs into the markets, runs into the real estate business, runs into the markets. And it's just this giant cycle of money that just continues to just accumulate compound interest in tax advantaged ways at all times. And it's like, once you understand something like that from someone and just open up your eyes, you're like, holy shit, it's a new world. I mean, Jerry Green, that dude, every day, when I show up to my meetings, I'm there at 8:59 to get on my Zoom call, and I promptly get off at 9:15. If they need to talk about anything else, that's on the team. That's not on me. My 15 minutes are done. Right. And so, there's just a lot of little things you pick up, and that wasn't even something he taught. It was something he said. And I was like, that's powerful. Get the hell off the call, because then now you're putting value in your time with your team, and they're like, oh shit, I better come prepared to this meeting, or else I'm not going to get my questions answered from Terry.
How do you navigate, bro? Because there's a lot of names, for the lack of a better word, right there. And you got Austin, you got Tiffany, you got all these other people, right? And so, like, how do you navigate a market like that when you've got different relationships, different people, everybody's kind of carving their piece out? I know with like Dean and Strat and us, we kind of have our own thing going on. How do you approach a scenario like that and just working with other people and that type of thing, especially when it's in your backyard?
I think just collab, man. You're not competing. I mean, like Josh and Tiffany, they teach newbie wholesaling. That's not my forte. I should probably get a referral code from them for, sending people over to them. I mean, shit, I think 2 people in my wedding have taken or have done their 15K, 6-month program or whatever. But like, hey, you want to do it? Go to them. I'm not your guy. Yeah. Hey, you want to learn how to scale a rental portfolio? Like, cool. I'll show you everything I know. That's kind of what we've built our business around. Austin is a social media mogul. Like, dude, I try, this dude, he's got the face and the body for camera. I don't, I just try really hard. So like, go to him, dude. He'll teach you all the tricks and tips. But I think, just collabing with people, man, like I'm not the type of dude that's like, oh, they're going to take from me and then go. Yeah, they're going to take from you. They're going to run off and they're going to do it on their own. Right. The goal is you just continue to grow. So that way you're not even worried about that shit. Like there's a person in my market that's kind of selling a similar product as me, and they've learned from me, and I'm like, great, do it, good, but I think it's like even like if you think about rappers, right? Like 50 will never ever say anything negative about Eminem. Eminem will never ever say anything negative about Dre, and it's always positive. I think more people need to understand and respect their place. Like for me, giving props to some of my mentors, even people I've spent money with, and I'm like, yeah, I got a couple things. I will never ever say anything negative about certain people because, dude, I've gotten good stuff from them. So yeah. I that is one thing that I think people do need to learn is, especially like if you're on someone's team and then dude, they taught you, man. They gave you a chance. Like, always put them in good light. It just makes you look bad when you start talking shit about somebody, especially that you was your mentor at some point. So I don't know if that makes sense. You guys run into that at all? Like any of that little
bad mouthing stuff? I think you'll see it here and there. I think one of the things that
an issue.
Yeah, one of the things that we pride
tight-knit.
ourselves in Central California is we've tried to create that like Arizona type of vibe of collaboration over competition. And so it's very rare that I see anything, if not nothing today. When I first got started, there was maybe, a little bit more guarded, a little bit more competitive, but over the years, like, especially with the three of us on here making efforts to collaborate with more people, I think there's a lot of good energy, a lot of good momentum towards collaboration, and the opposite of what we see in other markets. People kind of throwing elbows, taking jabs, running their mouth. Fortunately, we don't see too much of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's awesome, man. Like, even I was putting out, everyone dogs single family real estate, right? Especially the apartment
There's
guys.
a lot. Yeah.
That's sell shit. Yeah. I'll call a couple people out by name, Jennings, Smith, and and they sales pitch. I love it. I'm like, we'll go back and forth, and in our private talks, I mean, there's, we can talk about the advantages and disadvantages and all that stuff, and our headaches and their headaches and all that types of stuff. But at the same time, I'll make fun of those guys, not them personally, but I'll make fun of some apartment guys that, like, you own 2% of your portfolio, blah, blah, blah. But it's all fun and games, right? Like, we all know what it is. All we're doing is just, we've all got thick skin. We have fun with it. We're supposed to make fun of each other. That's what makes this business fun. And when you have fun and you're a hard worker, dude, you're going to make a shit ton of money. And I think that one of my principles in my business, actually one of my core values, is fun. Like, you got to have fun. Like, no one wants to be around someone that's just mad or serious all the time, dude. Have a personality, have some fun with your shit. People, it's infectious. People want to be around it, whether it's through your social media or whatever, and I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent on that, but I think that's one of the ways that I've avoided a lot of that stuff is people know, oh, Terry's at it again. And I'm like, but everyone just knows that that's me. But I expect everyone to give me shit too, man. And I take it and I'm like, dude, damn it, you got me, and it's just, I have fun with it, man. Like, this is supposed to be a fun business.
Absolutely. We got some good questions here. We can rapid fire out to kind of wrap things up here. First off, we got Jacqueline from Turlock, California. Deanna was talking about how she's close to coasts and mountains here in Central California. Shout out from somebody here. Love the show, fellas. Quick question. What's a typical private money loan look like? 10 to 12%, interest only, term usually 12 months or less. Mine's usually 8 to 10%. That's what mine usually look like. We could rapid fire around the corner. Terry, what's yours usually look like?
12 to 14. I would rather pay someone more money and have them come back as a happy customer.
Yep. It's all about that trust in that relationship.
I will say that, like, different states are completely different as far as private money goes. Because, like, we were talking to Ian, like, bro, their hard money loans like 18%. Vegas is still like 15%.
Wow.
And so, like, depending on your area, it'll vary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ours are 10. We pay 10. Sometimes I pay a point. Sometimes I don't. I think for the person that asked, one of the things that you can do, especially as you start scaling, is negotiate how you structure your payments. Because if you start loading up on private money and you've got to pay a stroke every single month, it really starts to cannibalize your cash in your business. So as you get better relationships, see if you can push that payment out until the end. And if you can do that with most of your loans, it makes your cash conversion cycle a little bit easier. But here we're paying about 10% on average on.
That's a good point, Jason. That's how I do every single one of my loans. Is the interest accrues and gets paid when we sell it, refinance it, whatever it is we do. Okay, another one here is, any advice for an agent trying to work with wholesalers and investors? is it as simple as just bring a deal? This is what I preach all the time, usually from the opposite side. So as an investor myself who wholesales, flips, and has rentals, I usually say, go to an agent, say, bring me a deal, and we'll split it 50-50. Like that's huge value for that agent because they might not be in the investment game. And now they're going to get a huge piece of the pie and create a big win-win, a really great way to build a strong relationship and want them to come back for more. So as an agent yourself, I would say bring a deal and find a way to make it a win-win, and everybody can win. You do deals with, well, you're doing a lot of your single family stuff. Do you get a lot of deals from realtors, Terry?
I love making fun of realtors, and I love working with awesome realtors. So well, I got my license renewed one day before my birthday, which was on Saturday. So I'm still licensed, but I'm part of the largest brokerage in the state of Ohio. Their Facebook page is absolute gold. You got 900 agents on there, and they're all doing massive amounts of business. So I just put on there today, case in point, hey guys, misspelled the words. Hey guys, I have a 1031 exchange with lots in it, looking to deploy all this capital. Please send me your deals. I've only got 45 days. Listen, I'll negotiate once they bring me the deals. But if I can go to a Facebook page that 900 people are going to look at, my efforts are multiplied. And they know they're going to send me deals. So yeah, I mean, I love working with agents, man. We email blast our agents. I mean, we do the expired listing thing. We make offers 3 times a week to different agents, and we pick up the phone and just try to call them and develop relationships with them. Dude, I think it's an underutilized tool in the market. Everyone wants to go to a wholesaler or another investor. Go to these realtors.
Amen.
I agree. The only other thing that I would add for the person that asked this question, because sometimes you don't have a deal. So then if you don't have a deal, you're kind of stuck in this like limbo space of like, okay, shit, what do I do next? Right? You've got to put yourself out there. Like networking is a numbers and a contact sport, just like sales and acquisition is.
Yep.
So you can't just go send one DM, send one message and expect that, you know, that person that you're reaching out to can just drop everything that they're doing and then go set aside time to go with you. So you've got to get kind of an idea of the people that you want to start providing value to. And then you've got to be intentional about how you do it and lead with something instead of just gimme. You know what I mean? A lot of times I think people come and they'll sit down and they'll be just like waiting for me to download everything that I've learned over the last 8-9 years into them. Right. And I'm fine circulating value, but it's like, damn, dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get to know each other a little bit first before we, you know what I mean? Before we go down that road, man. So yeah, lead with some value, do a little bit of extra homework and research. And like you get bonus points if you can understand the problems that I'm having in my business and a creative way that maybe you can solve them, right? So all of us are trying to scale social. If you're handy with the camera and you're good making social media and you're good with that, say, Jason, listen, let's go meet out at one of your properties. I'll shoot one of these reels for you for free just to show you like what I can do, man. You know what I mean? And so figure out a creative way, I think, to get your foot in the door, and that will get you further. And don't be afraid to talk to a bunch of people.
Yep.
Can I want, dude, that was absolute gold, by the way. I want to add 15 seconds on that. I always look at new school way of doing business, social media, what we're doing now, all that stuff. Old school way of doing business, join the country club, go to political, go to Rotary, raise money for charity, see and be seen, go to the golf, go golf, all that types of stuff. I just had lunch with probably one of the most, she will definitely be, she'll be in the United States Congress in the next 4 years. But she is one of our state senators. Hey, we had to throw down a G just to have lunch with her, right? Cool. You know, but able to, you know, get some legislation moving. It's the same thing. I had to provide value to be able to get the lunch with her, to then set up another lunch, right? But if you're not going to pay for it, you got to find a unique way to give someone some value.
100%, bro. That's fire.
Absolutely. All right. Next question here. We got a couple more. How did you guys find good mentors? I see them out there all over social media, but I'm talking local. I love this question because I think that's one of the best places to start is local, because that person's doing deals in your market. They understand what's going on. It's potentially different strategies than another market. So, I mean, speaking for all 4 of us, Terry, mentors people with your scaling up program. I have a coaching program. Jason just launched a coaching program. Stratton has a coaching program. Find people in your market that are doing deals, and then do the extra step. Find out more about that person. You should look at them on social media. Do you like how they are, how they do business, the people that they are around, and then see what other people have to say about them. Because I think people will make too quick of assumptions to see this person has all this flashy stuff. They must be great. I'm going to go with them. And they find out they're full of what. And they aren't doing things the right way. They're not a good match for you. And go spend the time to find people that are doing good business in your market and find that they're the people that align with what your values are.
I guess I'm next. Super quick. Yeah, I echo what you say. Also, too, make sure that that mentorship and education is not their main business.
Yeah,
because generally
doing it
will outperform their real business 10-1. It's not where you want to go, in my opinion. And yeah, just find someone you vibe with. Because if you don't vibe with somebody, like you're not gonna receive the information in the way you need to receive information and mindset shift.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What I'll add to this, and I'll take it a little bit of a different direction, is like having a coach or a mentor, whether it's paid or somebody that just kind of takes you under the wing and shows you the business, that's important, right? But I think what most newbies miss out on is building out an accountability group of other people that are wired the way that you are, right? That you're going to be spending more time with those people than you are with your mentor, especially if it's not a paid coach. And so you have to have a new friend group. At least I did, because when I first got started in the business, I was around all my boys. It was my friends since we were in elementary, middle school, high school, and we all did the same shit. And nobody was interested in real estate. When I would bring up real estate, they'd make fun of me. You know what I mean? Because that's just how my friends are. We would just talk shit about each other, right? You know what I mean? And so for us, it was not the most supportive environment for me when I would talk about like, damn, dude, I got this deal or I got this. But as soon as I got around other people that were at or around kind of where I was at, and we formed a little small networking group or mastermind group, we started holding each other accountable. We started sharing goals and talking openly with each other. They would be supportive of me, and that would give me the boost and the drive and the momentum that I need. So it's good to have somebody that's maybe 3, 5, 10 years down the road that's a mentor, but you also got to look at your circle of the people that you're spending more time with and start connecting with people like that too, and start building new friends, man, because you are definitely the average of the people that you spend the most time with.
I'm going to add a little bit more. If you are looking for a mentor and it's going to be free, I lucked out and got, I think, the best mentor I could have ever gotten at the beginning in Alan Folio. And the biggest thing is I went down and I sat there, I worked for him for free, and I executed on every single fucking thing he told me to do. Right? Because I can't even count all the people who I've talked to, and they're like, hey, how do I do this? And then I give them the game plan, they don't go do anything. But if you just go take the information, right? And you're like, hey, I've watched your videos. I've gone and done this. I did this. This was my result. What should I do next? That in and of itself will have that person invest their time, which is an investment, into you again to help you grow more. Because everybody, think about all the people who still help us every day. A lot of them, we don't pay them, but then they see that we're hustling, we're grinding. They're like, oh yeah, bro, just do it this way. Hey man, just do it that way. I see you're taking action. Go do it this way. But you have to show that you're actually going out there and implementing stuff. And yeah, we all do have like coaching programs and everything else. But if you're a hustler, bro, and you're like, hey, I'm here, I have this very, very specific problem that I've run into and I do not know how to solve. That's a completely different conversation than saying, hey, can I pick your brain?
It sounds so dirty. Let me pick your brain.
That's great advice, though. You got to take action. And if you want to get good advice, you got to ask good questions. The only way you're going to get good questions is you're taking action to actually figure out what questions to ask. So, all right, we got good stuff. Thanks for the responses, taking notes. Terry, dude, thanks for coming on today, man. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with? Any nuggets or any ways for people to connect with you? How can people connect with you?
Man, you're going to go on Instagram. That's TARRY Sums, and that's at Terry Sums. You can add me on Facebook at Terry Summers. You can add me on TikTok at Terry Summers. I'm the only Terry with an A you'll ever find. And then if I'm gonna do a little plug for my Scalers Only community, again, this is not a wholesaling platform or other flipping or anything, but if you're looking to build a solid rental portfolio and learn the financing operations, it's definitely a good community to be in. It's small and tight knit. It's not, massive 400 or 500 people, but it is a monthly group. Super excited to help grow that. But you can, we also have a podcast called the Scalers Only Show, where we bring on people that are scaling their businesses to massive levels. One of the latest episodes we had the world's largest auto dealer on, so I was pretty excited about that. But yeah, find me all over the internet. Don't believe everything, just believe the good stuff.
Bro, talk about your event that's coming up.
Sure, man. Appreciate it. So we have a event May 31st and June 1st. June 1st, it's a one-day event. If you want the VIP, it is both days. Literally, I don't know why I'm doing this for less than $1,000, but I am. But it's $997. It's a one-day event. Myself, my entire team, and I have my personal investment advisor, one of my private lenders, my hard money company, literally all the things from a financing and operations perspective that you would need in state will be at this event. There is zero pitch at the end. The only pitch that I have is if you want to be a part of Scalers Only long term, you have the opportunity to do it while you're there. That's it. So it's a 100% value event. If you want VIP, it's only $14.97. If you just want to fly in for the one day, it's $9.97. Taking 40 spots for this, so it is going to be a little bit more intimate. It's not like big stage and people in chairs 10 and 2 like this. It's more round table style, and I like to keep it like that so that way we can actually talk, converse, and get questions answered, and everyone feels a little bit more comfortable.
Heck yeah. Well, dude, thanks for coming on today. It's been super awesome to pick your brain and get to find out more about you, the way you're thinking. So it's been a pleasure for all of us. And thanks for everybody for watching the Deal Champs podcast, for participating, for asking questions. I know it's been helpful for everybody. Again, if you guys are watching this, make sure if you're on YouTube to like and subscribe. If you're watching this on Apple, Spotify, leave a 5-star review. Anything else before we run?
The meetup tomorrow. The meetup tomorrow.
We'll do some announcements. We got a meetup tomorrow in Modesto, California. So you can go to Central California Real Estate Investing Group. It's a Facebook group, Central California Real Estate Investing Group, to RSVP. And then we have our big event too, May 13th, the Recession Domination in Fresno, California, a one-day event. You guys can go to deanrogers.com/event if you guys want to get tickets and check it out. So we hope to see you guys there. Thanks for everybody that's hung along this whole time till the very end, dozens of people. So it's been awesome to have you guys on. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate you, man.
Terry, appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Peace.